I think that Israel was never really a democracy. It was a democracy for the Jews who lived in Israel, but not to the Palestinians who were under Israeli rule, either as citizens or inhabitants of occupied territories. I mean, even the democracy for the Jews today is questionable because of the attack on the Israeli judicial system and the curbing of any criticism on the government. So even the particular freedoms that were allocated only to Jews in a racist manner, even those are being now under threat. But if you look at Israel as a whole, if you think that Israel is a state that was responsible to all its citizens, to everyone it was under its rule, then definitely it doesn't meet the definition of democracy. It would meet much more easily, I think, the definition of an apartheid state. I coined the term moral stupidity, thinking particularly on certain intellectuals and academics in the German-speaking world, but thinking about it, it's also true about other parts of the continent, especially the west part of the continent of Europe, where you have people which I know either personally or from reading and listening, who usually have a lot of interesting things to say about the past, the present, morality, and I learn a lot from them. But there's some peculiar thing that happens when they switch and talk about the situation in Israel and Palestine, as if all this fountain of knowledge that usually they drink from has dried out, and they're lost for any commonsensical ideas. They just think, out of the Israeli prayer book, they parrot the Israeli propaganda in a very shameful way, and you say to yourself, they know that these are fabrication. They know that they're actually working in the service of a certain propaganda rather than in the service of truth. And that is really a moral cowardice. I think it's a worthy topic for a book, because one of the most important layer in the shield of immunity that allows Israel to operate the way it operates against the Palestinians is that kind of intellectual position. And it didn't start yesterday. It's from the very beginning of Zionism. You are faced with an idea that was not only not moral, it was also, on the face of it, not practical, unless you believe that you can, by force, create realities against the wish of people living in a certain place. And what do I mean by this? These intellectuals, that is the previous generation of the same intellectuals, were recruited to the idea that you can impose against the will of the Arab world a European Jewish state, because Europe doesn't know how to deal with its anti-Semitism. And it was clear that the vast majority, if not all the people, both in the Arab world and in the country chosen, Palestine, would reject this idea, would be totally alienated by it. And nonetheless, it was not only European political powers, financial powers, who said, doesn't matter what these people want, we will impose it. It was the intellectuals who went along with it. And that gave a lot of credibility to a project of dispossession and colonization. And people are very surprised today even if you dare to call Israel a settler colonial state or say that the Zionist project was a colonialist one, whereas all the facts attest that this is it's not even an indictment, it's just a statement of historical fact, but because of that intellectual scaffolding, because of that intellectual support, such language can still be framed as anti-Semitic. Even if it's a very simple statement of facts, when ignored, leads to the futile kind of peace processes we have seen and immunizes Israel in its further actions.